INKWELL, written by Dante, London. Interior basement, day. A light clicks on over a slanted drawing desk with an 11 by 17 paper board. Framed on the wall is an impressive crayon drawing with the note, "To Foster from Rose." Below it, a drawer opens and a hand digs out a black pen. The basement is a dungeon of art supplies, fictional maps, and anatomy posters. Foster, 20s, a creative man who can't put his ideas on paper, poorly sketches a hand onto the board. Rose, 20s, a brilliant artist that knows her worth, descends the stairs.
A guy just commissioned a drawing of some cartoon. Said he'd pay me an exposure.
She goes over Foster's shoulder and looks at his work. It's no good, but she won't say it.
I said the only thing you're exposing is the characters.
Foster throws the pen to the floor. Rose picks it up and begins drawing a hand effortlessly.
Relax your wrist.
It's so clear in my head.
Sometimes, when I'm not getting it, I write out what I want to see.
The drawing takes shape. Rose works the final touches.
You always get it, ever since we were kids.
But you always had to tell me what to draw. It takes time.
The pen runs out of ink. Rose shakes it but can't get it to work. Her drawing of a relaxed hand hanging down is perfect.
Out of ink. Seems like a good time for a break.
I've had this idea for years. It's right here. I just need to get it out.
Foster loads a new paperboard onto the desk. Rose wants to offer help, but stops herself.
You'll get it.
Rose heads up the stairs as Foster stews at the blank page. Foster opens the art supply drawer. A white pen stands out from the rest. It doesn't belong. He takes it up with caution and swipes it on the paper. It works. Tight-fisted, Foster places Rose's hand drawing under his new sheet. He presses the paper together and traces her work. His hand cramps, and he drops the pen. Foster massages his muscles and cracks his fingers. The tracing is still crap. He pulls out a comic book script with a description of each panel. As he reads, he writes the description next to the trace.
The young hero looks back at their burning village as they're carried away in the king's carriage.
Foster waits for inspiration. Nothing. He drops the pen on the desk, turns off the drawing light, and huffs upstairs, defeated. The room sits silent and dark. On the page, the tracing and text dissolve. The pen shifts on its own. Scratching fills the quiet room as the pen quickly draws across the page. Interior basement, day. Foster walks down the stairs and turns on the drawing light. It hits him. He looks at the page, a beautiful, fully rendered image of exactly what he had written.
Rose! Rose!
He examines the drawing and the pen sitting next to it.
Do you have an ice pack?
Rose descends the stairs nursing her drawing hand.
I think I sprained my wrist.
Did you come down here?
What?
Yesterday. Did you draw this?
Rose looks at the art.
That's pretty good.
I know. Did you do it?
No. Kind of looks like one of mine, though.
Don't joke around.
I'm not. Unless I took up sleep drawing, I didn't make that.
Foster believes her.
Is that it?
Yeah, sorry.
Keep up the good work, weirdo.
Rose climbs upstairs. Foster sets the board aside, loads up a blank sheet, cautiously takes up the pen, pulls up the script, and writes down the second panel description.
The king sets his hand on the boy's shoulder, pulling his gaze away from the village.
Foster sets everything down and watches the board. The writing disappears, same as before. He leans in. The pen rises like Dracula from his coffin onto the page. It quickly scratches out shapes and lines, drawing on its own. Foster's eyes go wide. The drawing finishes perfect to his description. He laughs like a man who just found gold. And he has. Dip to black. Interior basement, day. The basement door opens and light sweeps across the room. Rose descends the stairs. A sling holds her freshly decorated arm cast, while her other arm holds an art book. She looks sickly. An art competition award for Foster hangs on the wall. Rose flips up the replaced crayon drawing sitting face down on the desk. Thick stacks of drawings fill the table beside it. an impossible amount to complete. Rose sets her art book down and turns on the drawing lamp to an image of the king being stabbed in the back by the now grown hero. The white pen sits to the side. Rose reaches for it. Boom! The basement door shuts and the room falls into the dark.
Careful.
Foster moves down the stairs, eyes on the pen.
Not long ago, you were struggling to draw hands. Glad you're getting the hang of it.
Foster takes the pen and puts it in his pocket.
But this, it's just so fast.
It finally looks like I imagined.
Rose picks up the first page sitting atop a stack.
When you finished this one, you asked if I drew it.
I was tired. Couldn't remember.
Then you won that competition. Now I can't unsee it. My style.
Growing up together, I guess. Coincidence.
Who's doing it?
You don't think I have it in me?
No one has this.
Foster sits at his desk. There's no other way but the truth.
If I show you, you have to promise not to tell anyone.
What is it?
You won't believe me unless you see it.
I promise then.
Foster sits at the desk, places a fresh board, and takes out his pen.
The old king falls dead onto his throne with the dagger in his back.
Foster puts the pen to the page and releases. It stays standing, already shocking Rose. Suddenly, the pen scratches out a line, then shapes. An image forms with rapid movements. It's exactly what Foster described.
Oh my God.
Isn't it incredible?
Rose collapses on a nearby chair and Foster rushes to her side.
You okay?
How?
I don't know. I found it with the rest of my supplies. I'd never seen it before.
Rose glares at the drawing.
It's not right.
You couldn't tell at first. People at the competition couldn't either.
It's not bad, it's just...
Rose gets up from her seat and looks closely at the drawing.
Hold on.
Rose grabs her drawing book.
We can build worlds in minutes, redefine everything, create anything, every daydream printed with a few words. It's amazing.
Rose flips her art book open and sets it next to the board. The image of the throne looks ripped from a drawing in the book. The style, composition, and aesthetics are the same, even if it's not a direct copy.
I knew I'd seen it before. It's my drawing. See?
They're different.
Rose flips through her book to a crime scene sketch. The body of the king matches with a crime scene corpse hanging off a bar stool.
Different pieces, but it's my style. My work.
Foster goes rigid.
It's a copy-paste tool.
Where in your notebook do you have this specific image? It's something new, an original piece of art from my mind.
With my hand. You can't just take pieces, claim it's yours, and make money off it.
Nothing's original. Everything's a copy of a copy, but now I can make my vision, even if it's a collage.
But it's not better.
Rose pulls a small desk towards the center of the room and sets a lamp on it.
Give me and your pen the same prompt. I'll show you. If I can beat it, you'll stop this.
It's not hurting anyone.
Rose gives a look of determination, and Foster scowls.
Fine. A dragon tears through a small cottage with a terrified family running out.
The words disappear and the pen begins scratching away. Rose grabs a normal pen from the drawer and marches past Foster to the desk. She flips open her drawing book to a blank page, pulls her arm out of her sling and sets her clunky cast on the table, wincing in pain. With her other hand, she puts the pen between her fingers and begins to draw meticulously. Interior basement later. Time passes and the pen finishes its drawing of the prompt perfectly. Rose has hardly started. Foster looks at the pen's finished work and Rose drawing away. He snickers to himself. Rose hears and focuses down on her work. A black liquid drips down from Rose's nose. Blood? No. Ink. She wipes it away without noticing what it really is. Interior basement night. Rose sets her finished artwork next to the pen's. Hers is full of life, little faults and strays from some of the prompt with creative additions, like a sheep in the dragon's mouth. She looks proud and waits for Foster's concession.
You added some details.
I made it better. Can your pen improvise?
It took you hours.
Look at what I've done and tell me it's not more alive.
It is. Yours is 10% better, but 90 is still an A. I'm almost done, Rose. When you see the whole story, you'll understand.
Foster turns his back on her and loads a new board. Rose snatches the pen off the desk.
This thing is a leech, not a magic wand.
Give it back.
Foster rips it from her casted hand, hurting her arm. She winces in pain, but he doesn't notice.
It can do things even you can't imagine.
Foster goes to his board and takes up the pen.
The grown hero looks over the kingdom burning to the ground. No. A beautiful image. The hero gazes proudly into the fearsome flames consuming the entire kingdom.
The pen rises and begins to draw slower than before. Something inside Rose gives out. She catches herself over the pen's drawing and coughs out ink spittle. Rose touches her lips and examines the liquid.
What's happening?
Rose collapses.
Rose!
Foster picks her up and carries her to the desk. She can barely talk with ink leaking out of her mouth.
I didn't... You'll be okay. Hold on. Just get it all out.
Black tears roll down her cheek as she coughs ink into Foster's face. She can finally breathe for a moment.
Ask me.
Rose?
I drew for you. Why didn't you ask me?
Foster wakes up to what he's done.
I'll stop it.
Foster hardens himself and goes to the pen, scratching away. He pulls it off the page, knocking the drawing lamp over. The pen vibrates out of his grip and shoots back on the page, continuing its work.
Come on.
Foster.
Ink drips from Rose's mouth, eyes, nose, and ears. A brutal sight.
Please.
Foster grips the pen, trying to pull it off the page with every ounce of force. He falls back, hands empty. Rose goes completely silent. Foster pulls himself up as the pen rolls down the drawing board into his hand, out of ink. The drawing is half done. He turns, dreading what he'll see. The drawing lamp turns him into a silhouette. Rose is dead, her body in Foster's shadow. Ink rolls down her arm, over the cast, and off her fingertips. Rose's hand drawing brought to life. The end.